Hi, I'm Shonda Miles. I am a business coach, business consultant, and today I just want to talk to you about how do you feel? And so when I think about leaders and how they feel, we typically ignore things because it's easier. We typically ignore things. We are responsible for an organization, we're responsible for people, we're responsible for a team, and we're responsible for our family, our spouse, our children. So we typically ignore ourselves. We ignore our bodies. We ignore the things that we feel. We just ignore things that are important for us to consider. So I think the most important thing here is that we cannot pour from an empty well, and that if we are going to take care of things, organizations, people, or families, we got to take care of ourselves first. And I think we underestimate how important it is that we take care of ourselves. And so I just want you to think about this: is how when was the last time you saw a doctor? When was the last time you took care of your health, your dental health, your mental health, your physical health, your, if it's colonoscopy, if it's a mammogram, if it's whatever it is, prostate exam? When was the last time you did it? And so it's important that you try to do at least yearly, dental exam twice a year. I'm not a physician. I'm just saying that most leaders that I find, they neglect themselves. They have old childhood trauma that needs to be dealt with, inner child that needs to be taken care of. And so they need therapy, but they feel like, they're on this hamster wheel, busy, 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 and they're not able to deal with this. And so I'm just suggesting that if you haven't taken care of yourself, it's a great time to do it. It's a great time to stop and take care of yourselves. And I always like to say, okay, are you getting enough sleep? So are you getting, depending on your body, 7 to 9 hours of sleep? Are you eating, what you need to be eating, getting adequate calories? Are you eating too much because of stress? You drinking enough water? And so all of these things are important. Are you getting exercise? Are you working out, several days a week, 3 or 4 days a week, just working your physical body? It's good for clarity, mental health, stress reduction. So all these things are important. And so oftentimes we ignore them. As leaders, we ignore them because we're busy. We put it off and put it off and put it off, instead of taking care of ourselves, instead of doing what we know we should do, knowing that the organization is going to be fine, the people that we serve is going to be fine, the team that we have, they're going to be fine. If I take care of myself, I show up better. I can help support people better. I can add more value. I can be more present, instead of having this nagging pain that we ignore, for over a year, this nagging, something that we know is not right with our body, and we don't take care of it. We don't see a physician. We just ignore it. We just keep going because we've programmed ourselves to just keep going, that we have people that's dependent on us. But they're dependent on our physical health as well. They're dependent on our mental health as well. They're dependent on us to be well rested. So you got to be thinking about emotionally, how are you? How are you emotionally? Have you checked with yourself emotionally? Have you found that you're more irritable, that you're less accommodating? Have you seen that you're more sensitive? Have you things that really tick you off? Is it a person that really upsets you every time they are there things that need to be dealt with, or is it their forgiveness that needs to happen? So you got to be thinking about emotionally, how are you? You got to be thinking about, some of us, are we grieving? Have we lost a loved one or a friend or a family or somebody, and we haven't had a chance to grieve? We haven't spent time grieving. We just, we used to going, and we haven't spent the time to grieve. So do you need time to grieve? Do you need time and space to heal? And so we got to stop long enough to see how we're feeling, to check in with ourselves and see how we feel. Do we have old stuff that we need to deal with, old baggage that keeps going everywhere we go, just keeps following us because we haven't dealt with it? We haven't asked for forgiveness. We haven't forgiven ourselves. We haven't forgiven the other person. We just carry old baggage from place to place, and it gets heavy, So we got to learn how to deal with issues. We got to learn how to deal with our baggage. And so sometimes that's talking to a therapist or a pastor or working through it in a journal. We got to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, that we're going to appointments, that we're, checking in with our family and seeing with our family. What do they see? What are they observing? How are you snappy? Are you grumpy? Are you grouchy? Are you hard to approach? Unapproachable. So just some things to be thinking about is how do you feel, and stop ignoring how you feel. Stop ignoring how you feel. It's not going to go away. It's still going to be there. That pain that you feel that you haven't dealt with is still going to be there. The issues that hadn't been resolved, it's going to get worse. It's just going to be heavier and heavier. So take care of yourself today. Just realize that in order to be your best self, in order to help other people, you've got to take care of yourself first.